Alright, so welcome back to another class/build video. Today we're looking at the Chaosweaver. It's really funny because after all my time of using this class, I've never done a video on it, even though it's like my most used class on this channel. Alright, so if you want to be able to get this class for yourself, there's a couple of little things you gotta do first. First of all, in the most recent update for the game, you now have to be level 50 to get the class. The level 50 is quite a high level, but it just stops people from speed running to get it straight away as soon as you make your character. Well, that's what I assume. So to get this, you're going to want to go to book 3, so the end of magic timeline. And the storyline we get this from is at Ravenloss. So if we go to the very end of Ravenloss, we have to go to the end. There's two sort of states to the area. The first state being the beginning of the quest line, which looks a little bit different to the end. We have to have completed the entire story here. So go to this part here and go to the Pello village. It will take us to Tomix, but we have to go backwards here. So follow where I'm going now, and you should be able to get there. So it's down here, then outside of here again, past the card shop, and then in this little alleyway here, and then down here. Never mind, I'm sorry, quite hard to get your head around sometimes. This way, and inside here, never mind, inside here, there we go. Now we have to wait here for 20 seconds. I think it's like 22 seconds. I don't know. Either way though, when we've waited here, there'll be a portal that will open up. Now you have to go to the end of the storyline to get this to work, because the house is in like a ruined state. And there we go, the portal's opened. If you're at the very start of the quest line, there'll be a little kid here called Char. So that's why you've got to do it at the end. So enter the portal, go to Secundus, get the Chaosweaver. So you can buy the class here. I've already got it obviously, so I can't really see it. Alright, so yes, level 50, and you do need to spend 1,800 Dragon coins. But if you're looking for a class that you pay with Dragon coins, I highly recommend this one. It's probably one of the best classes that you can buy. Maybe the Pyromancer, but still. Alright, so my stats for this character. I am doing this on my level 83. I have 200 int, 200 endurance, and 10 wisdom. I just kind of like to get more health for bossing. If you're doing questing, like normal quests, you should probably get some more wisdom, because the Chaosweaver is a highly consuming mana class. Intelligence I highly recommend. You're probably going to be using scythes anyway, so it doesn't really matter like in dex or strength. But intelligence is probably the best for the Chaosweaver, because intelligence raises outgoing critical hit damage. Now the Chaosweaver is a very high crit chance, so we have 70 here, and one of the attacks, Untangle, is it does crit damage, like it always does crit damage, and that is one of the biggest damage abilities that we have. So intelligence is definitely the best. Highly recommend getting a ton of wisdom, maybe 200 if you're planning on using this class for quests. Me, I use it on bosses mainly, so I have loads of health. Alright, so for my gear, now you can use whatever stuff you want. Chaosweaver does not require any specific weapons, kinda like how the Paladin needs a light based weapon to make it better. I'm using a thread cutter. This is because it is one of the highest damaging weapons in the game, like highest flat damage. I'm also using the Puppet Master cape. This is, well, normally I do use this, the Wings of 1,000 Infernos, because it's better. But the Puppet Master goes with the class. Well, you can't really see it, but it's like a Secundus. For my helmet, I'm using the Weaver's Facade. This is the Chaosweaver specific helmet for the class. It's got some pretty good stats on it, so I use it. And then I highly recommend you get the Thorn Replica. Now, what this weapon does, you can use it as your special slot over the top. So the secret ability on the weapon gets used even when using the third cutter. And now what this does, it increases your critical hit damage by 5%. As I said before, Chaosweaver is really good at crits, and Untangled is a crit only attack. So getting more damage at crits is very good. Now I will go through everything how to get this stuff. So for the Thorn Replica, it's actually a reward for one of the quest lines. So if we go to Book 3 Timeline, now you do not need a specific level for the weapon. You can get it at any level, because if you just use it to show over the top, then it doesn't really matter. So we get it from this quest line called the Thorns. Now we have to get it from the very last quest, when you finish the boss battle, the Loose Ends. Well, or the Unraveled, I can't remember. I think it's Unraveled actually. And we get it as a quest reward from there. So if you want to grab that, 100% go there. Now I do have some other basic like rings and necklaces, which I'm getting upgrades on soon. I do have the Zerix skill, which is going to be useful next because it has a plus 10 all resist. So for my cape, the Puppet Master and the the Weaver's Facade, we can actually upgrade it this guy. So garments and items, you can buy the third cutter Alpha, 500 Dragon coins. Oh, the Chaosweaver armor's here. I forgot it was in here. The Puppet Master Alpha and the Weaver's Facade. Now another way to get these, you can actually go to buy Dragon coins. So if I just go over to boosts, then go, I need more Dragon coins. Alright, so if we go down here, there's actually a bundle here which costs $10 or whatever, which you get the third cut to the helmet and the Secundus, the cape thing. So the cape, helmet and weapon, and 2,000 Dragon coins. So I do think this is better for your value than just buying it off Secundus. So yeah, keep that in mind if you want to get the stuff. This is how I got it. So yeah. But once we do that, once you've got all your items, again, you don't need this stuff. It just goes well with the class. But if we go to upgrade items, you can upgrade them here. So all of the stuff is actually free to upgrade. So I will be getting these next. So we can actually upgrade them for free. So it's really good. So whatever level you are, they can be upgraded to your level, which is really nice. Alright, so because the Chaosweaver does a lot of damage, we are going to be testing it in the green screen room. So I've set up a dummy right here that has 10,000 HP, which is like a good sort of number for this class. So there's two things we need to get out of the way first. As you can see down here, we have this thing called Soul Threads. When we have a Soul Thread activated, you'll have this little ring around it, and when you click it, you can turn them off, so you don't use them up. Now we only have 2 Soul Threads. Now what these do, if we click turn them off, let's go to this skill, for example, the Aggression. The damage, applied damage over time for 4 turns. So if we turn it on, it now says apply damage over time for 10 turns. So what this basically suggests is that some skills gain bonuses and effects based on whether you use a Soul Thread on them. So if we turn this off, Aegis, resist death for 2 turns. So basically this ability makes you invincible for 2 turns. If we turn this on, it now says 3 turns. So there are certain skills that are 100% you should use a Soul Thread on. Now when we use a Soul Thread, say for example, now Gambit, by the way, attack again. If we turn this off, we don't get attack again. So 100% if you use a Soul Thread, Gambit and Aegis and Aggression are some of the best to use the Soul Thread on. probably the only skills I ever really use it on, to be honest. So if we turn this on and then use Gambit, we get an extra turn. So basically we've lost the soul thread. Now we have to regain these by attacking. We can only ever do it twice. There's only 2 skills that allow us to gain a soul thread. We have Assault over here, which will gain a soul thread, and Untangle over here that'll gain a soul thread. So we'll try Assault first. It'll do massive amounts of damage, about 1,000, and there you go. We got a soul thread back. So let's use another soul thread. We'll try Aegis. And then we'll try Untangle, which is our other skill. A very powerful attack. So we basically get 2 skills for gathering soul threads. So you need to use these wisely, because this is like a 9-10 cooldown, and this is 16. So you need to be careful how you use your abilities. Don't waste them. Alright, so let's actually test all of the skills. Now, I am going to be turning these off just so we don't waste them all. We only have 2 to use at the end of the day. Soul Assault. Deal damage, gain a soul thread. I didn't really need to use that because I've already got soul threads. Stun for 1 turn. Just the note, if we turn this on. It'll stun for 1 turn, but also minus the bonus. It basically makes it so that the enemy has a less chance to hit us. But we'll keep that off. And then up next we have Aggression. So like I said before, turn this on. It lasts for 10 turns the damage over time. But 4 without it. This ability reduces all cooldowns. It doesn't get affected by the soul threads, so never use a soul thread on this one. I believe it only does 1 turn. Then we have plus 50 crit for 3 turns. This stack is really good. I use this all the time. It gives us 50 to our crit. So it's now at 120. This is ridiculous. So I should have said it at the start of the video, there will be a link in the description to a guide based on this class so you can see all its skills. Now Gambit I should have mentioned before, but I forgot. What this ability does, it basically increases our damage by about 300% I believe, maybe 200, but makes us take about 200% damage more. So we do more damage but take more damage. Now this also gives us like 200 to our hit chance, which is really good to know. Basically something to increase our damage, but we also take more. It's still a very good ability. Now Aegis, we can die for 2 turns, or 3 if you use a soul thread. We have a normal attack. See, that 50 crit is very good because that did a hell of a lot of damage. Siphon is a really good ability. Alright, so what Siphon does, it deals damage and then heals us. The more damage this ability does, the more it heals us. So if you use Gambit and then Siphon, it will pretty much give you like a full heal. So keep that in mind. Damage offers. Now these 2 abilities are not affected by soul thread, same as this one, which stuns for 1 turn. This ability makes an enemy 20 minus resistant to everything, so we're going to do 20% more damage for a short time. Rebuke now deals damage based on missing HP. This skill goes really well with Aegis. If we use, if we're on low HP and we use Gambit and Aegis, it's going to stop us from dying. And when we're at 1 HP, this attack will do a shit ton of damage. So the more HP you've lost, the more damage it does. Basically, never use it if you're at full health. That was terrible. Now Snap is a really powerful attack. I do not believe it's affected by a soul thread. No, it's not. It does high amounts of damage, and then at the end of the turn it'll do more. So if you see there, it did almost 300, and then it did almost 500 on top of that. So what it does, it attacks, then at the end of the turn it'll do some more damage. Then we have Untangle, which is our basic biggest damage skill we've got. Obviously if you use a soul thread it'll do almost 500 damage per tick. So for this class there's not really too much in the terms of a rotation. It's basically a very you're supposed to just do as much as you can in a short time. It's not really a class that is good for using in long fights, because the abilities have a lot of cooldown. And it's a very glass cannon class. It does a lot of damage, but you also get killed pretty easily using it. But one thing I always do, turn off the soul thread, then use the 50 crit. It's not affected by the soul thread, so we turn it off. And then same as this minus resist. And then I always turn this back on. And then use aggression, because this is one of our best attacks. It does a lot of damage, and it does a 10-10 damage over time. And then I always just use assault, just to get back the soul thread that we just used. And then up next, it depends on the fight at the end of the day. You could stun if you wanted to. You could maybe reduce your cooldowns. You can do whatever you want, maybe your doubles, your multis. Maybe if you got low HP, use this. Or if you're in low HP, maybe use this. I don't really recommend you use Rebuke or Siphon until you've used Gambit. But right now, I'm going to use Gambit. And then I normally use Aegis if I'm low on HP. If I am not low on HP, I'd use Untangle instead. Just for the damage and for the soul thread back. But then after that, normally I'd be on quite low HP. So what I would do, since we've used Aegis, we've already got an extra turn. So we've got 2 more turns that we can't die in. So if I'm on low HP, I'd use Rebuke to do a lot of damage. It'll do around 3,000 damage that if you're on like 1 HP. And then I would use Siphon just to gain some of that HP back. And then at that point you could be at like full HP, depending. And then that's kind of it. At this point you're kind of in a position where you've not really got much else to do. It's kind of weird. Snap is really good. Very good damage, obviously. But yeah, kind of not really much. You can always reduce your cooldowns, just to kind of get them back a little bit faster. But it's kind of a class that is used good for bursts. Like, as I said before, do as much as you can in a short time. And it's not really good class for keeping it up. But then again, these buff abilities do also have very short cooldowns. So you can always use these again. Alright, yes, so that's it for this video. I hope I didn't miss anything out. I try my best to remember everything. But either way, thank you for watching. I'll see you on the next video. Bye bye.